we are learning the topics Laplace transform, okay? And in some lectures, or in the first and second lecture, we have seen what is Laplace transform and how to calculate Laplace transform of some elementary functions, okay? Now, using this Laplace transform elementary function, we can solve any example, okay? So, keep in mind or learn the basic rules of Laplace transformation, that is Laplace transform of elementary functions like sin at, cos at, e raised to power at, Laplace transform of t raised to power n, Laplace transform of 1. Okay, learn that 5-6 rules or Laplace transform of some 5-6 elementary functions. Okay, it is very important to keep them in mind. Okay, because now you will see in solving some example we have to use that Laplace transform elementary function. Okay, so first example is find the Laplace transform of cos h, cos hyperbolic h, cos hyperbolic raised to power 4 t. Okay. Find the Laplace transform of cos h raised to power 4 t. Okay. Now, for this purpose, we know the formula of cos hyperbolic raised to power 2 t. It is cos h square t. The formula is 1 plus cos h 2t upon 2. The formula for cos h square t is equal to 1 plus cos h 2t upon 2. Okay. Now, you have to find cos h raised to power 4t, and this is the cos h square t. So take square on the both sides. So this implies cos h raised to power 4 t is nothing but the square of this term. The square of denominator is 4. So 1 by 2 square is 1 by 4. So 1 by 4 as it is, and square of this term numerator 1 plus cos h 2t whole square. Now here the formula of a plus b square. So this is equal to 1 by 4 as it is. So 1 square is 1 plus 2 times 1 into cos h 2t plus square of this term, that is cos h square 2t. Okay. Now again here is cos h square 2t. We know the formula of cos h square t, so we can find cos h square 2t also. Okay, so this is equal to multiply 1 by 4 into 1, so 1 by 4 plus 2 by 4, that is 1 by 2 into cos h 2t, cos h 2t. This is 2 into 1 by 4, so 2 by 4 is 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 into cos h square 2t, 1 by 4 into cos h square 2t, but we know the formula of cos h square t, which is equal to 1 plus cos h 2t upon 2. So we can find cos h square 2t also. Okay. So 1 by 4 into the value of cos h square 2t will be equal to 1 plus cos h 2 times this. Here only cos h square t was there. So here 1 plus cos h 2 times t. Okay. Here only 2 times t. So 1 plus cos h 2 times 2, that is 4t. So cos h 4. Okay. Now this is equal to 1 by 4 upon 2. Okay. Upon 2 also. 1 plus cos h 2 times 2t upon 2 also there. Okay. So this is equal to 1 by 4 plus 1 by 2 into cos h 2t plus, now this is 1 by 4, this is 1 by 2. So 1 by 4, 1 by 2 is 1 by 8. 1 by 4 into 1 by 2. 1 by 8. Now 1 by 4 into, okay, see here we can write directly this is 1 by 4, this is 2, so we can directly write this is 1 by 4 into 1 by 2. Okay, that is 1 by 8. So we can write this as 1 by 8. So 1 by 8 into 1 is 1 by 8 plus 1 by 8 into cos h 4t is 1 by 8 into cos h 4. Okay. Understand up to this? What we have done? We have taken the square of this is equal to this term Now you know value of cos h square t. 1 by 4 already outside. So this is equal to 1 plus cos h 4t upon 2. So here 1 by 4 already was there. Here upon 1 by 2. 1 by 4, 1 by 2 is 1 by 8. So 1 by 8 into 1, 1 by 8 into cos h 4t is 1 by 8 into cos h 4t. Okay. Now this is 1 by 4, this is 1 by 8. Now 1 by 4, we can write 1 by 4 as multiply and divide by 2. So 2 by 8 plus this 1 by 8. So this is equal to 3 by 8. So 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 is equal to 3 by 8. This is equal to 3 by 8 plus 1 by 2 cos h 2t. Already 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 is 3 by 8. So plus 1 by 8 into cos h 4t. So this is the value of cos h is to the power 4t. Now we are finding Laplace transform of cos h to the power 4t. Okay. So Laplace transform of cos h to the power 4t is equal to Laplace transform of this term, because cos h to the power 4t is equal to this term. Now we use here linearity property. Laplace transform of sum of three functions is equal to sum of Laplace transform of three functions. We will use linearity property. Okay. So finding Laplace transform of this term is same as finding Laplace transform addition of three functions, and Laplace transform addition has a linearity property. So this is equal to Laplace transform of this whole term, but Laplace transform of addition is equal to addition of Laplace transform. Now 3 by 8 is constant, so Laplace transform of 3 by 8 is equal to 3 by 8 into Laplace transform of, or for the sake of understanding, I will write one more step. So Laplace transform of this is equal to Laplace transform of this whole term. Whole term is 3 by 8 plus 1 by 2 cos h 2t plus 1 by 8 cos h 4t. Now Laplace transform of 3 by 8 into 1 is equal to 3 by 8 is constant. This is equal to 3 by 8 into Laplace transform of 1 by 2 as it is into Laplace transform of cos h 2t plus 1 by 8 as it is Laplace transform of cos h 4t. This is equal to 3 by 8 as it is. We know Laplace transform of 1, it is always equal to 1 by s. So we know the formula form Laplace transform of elementary function. So I am saying you must know the value of Laplace transform of elementary function. Laplace transform of 1 is 1 by s. So 3 by 8 into 1 by s. So 3 by 8 s. Okay. Plus 1 by 2 into Laplace transform of cos h 2t. Laplace transform of cos h t is s upon s square minus a square. Okay. So this is equal to Laplace transform of, so cos h 2t is equal to s upon s square minus a square. Here a is 2, so a square minus 2 square. Okay. Plus 1 by 8 as it is Laplace transform of cos h 4t. This is equal to s upon s square minus 4 square, that is 60. Here 2 square is equal to 4. This is the Laplace transform of cos h to the power 4 into. Okay. Friends, now we will see the sufficient condition for existence of Laplace transform. Okay. Now this condition is only sufficient and not necessary. Only sufficient condition means if this criteria is satisfied, then function must have Laplace transform. Okay. But even there are some functions, they may not satisfy the condition, though their Laplace transform exists. Sufficient means Laplace transform exists. If the condition is sufficient and necessary, then that condition is very strong. If that condition is not satisfied, then Laplace transform does not exist. But this is only sufficient condition, not necessary condition. But for our study or for our syllabus purpose, this condition is very important. Okay, that is when the function satisfies these conditions, from Laplace transform always exists. Okay, so what is this condition? If function f of t is piecewise continuous on every finite interval 0 less equal t less equal capital T for every t greater than 0 and function is of exponential order alpha for t greater than t, then its Laplace transform above s exists for all s greater than alpha. Now I think you don't have clear idea about piecewise continuous functions, and exponential order functions. Okay, so first I will clear your idea about the piecewise continuous function and exponential function. Then you will get clear the sufficient condition. Okay, so what is piecewise continuous function? Piecewise continuous function. Okay, piecewise continuous. First, you should know continuous function. Okay, continuous functions. If you plot the graph of continuous function, graph is continuous. Okay, there is no break. Okay, now and continuous function is continuous everywhere in the given interval. Okay, but piecewise continuous. Okay, means function is continuous in some short interval, but there are some point at which function is discontinuous. Okay. Function is not totally continuous or whole interval. Function is continuous in parts. Function is continuous in this interval, but there is some discontinuous point. Then again, function is continuous. Such functions are called continuous functions. I will try to explain this piecewise continuous functions graphically. Okay. Consider this graph of function. Okay. Suppose this is our x-axis and this is y-axis. Okay. So this is our interval from A to B. Okay. Now look the functions. Okay, this is our function. Okay. Suppose this is point. This is our starting point. Okay. This is our starting point A. This is point say T1. This is point T2. Okay. This is point T2. This is point T3. This is point or B. Okay. Now look this function. If the graph is like this, then function will be continuous, but there is break in graph function. Look at the graph here is continuous from this to this, but at this point T2, the function when it limit to the function from this side, function is tending to the this part. Okay. But from this side, function is tending to this value. The function is discontinuous at this point. Also, you look, there is break in the graph. Function is not like this. There is no joint from this point to this point. So I have mentioned here only dash. Then there is break. Graph is not continuous. Okay. If graph like this, from this point also connected to this point, then function will be continuous here. But function is continuous from this to this. So function is continuous in this interval. Again, function is continuous from this point to this point to this point. Again, function is continuous in this interval. There is no break in the graph. But again, there is graph here. Again, function is continuous in this interval. Okay. Such functions are called piecewise continuous functions. Okay. If the graph of function like this, if the graph were like this, then function will be continuous from this point A to this point B. There is no break in the graph, but here break. Okay. Or the limit at this point does not exist. Such functions are called piecewise continuous. This function is continuous in this interval, but function is not continuous in whole interval. Such functions are called piecewise continuous function. And every continuous function is always piecewise continuous function. There is no problem. If function is continuous, there is no tension about the piecewise continuous function. But okay, because continuous function is strong condition than piecewise condition. Okay. And the next point is exponential order. Function is of exponential order alpha. Okay. A function of exponential order. Function is of exponential order. A function is said to be of exponential order alpha if there exist a constants. If there exist constants alpha, m, t, and t. Okay, where this t is greater than 0, such that e raised to power minus alpha t into mod of the function f is less equal m. If this condition is satisfied, then function f is said to be exponential of order alpha. Okay, where for t is equal to this capital T and t is greater than 0. Okay, so if this condition is satisfied, the function is said to be of exponential order. Or this condition can be also written as transfer this e raised to minus alpha t to this side. So we get mod of f of t is less equal m into e raised to power alpha t, because here e raised to minus alpha t when goes to this side become e raised to power alpha t. This is also condition for function to be exponential of order alpha. And if put alpha is equal to 0, if alpha is equal to 0, what we get? We get mod of the function is less equal some constant. This is the condition of bounded function. Mod of function is less equal some real constant. So this implies any bounded function always of exponential order 0, where alpha is equal to 0. Okay. So any bounded function is always of exponential order 0. Now, to prove some function is of exponential order, we have to find the value of m alpha, okay, and t. And the other criteria for function to be of exponential order is to prove that limit of the function f of t as t tends to infinity, f of t into e raised to power minus at alpha to or at is equal to some finite number. Okay. If this condition is satisfied, then function is said to be of exponential order. Okay. So this is this. Now the sufficient condition for existence of Laplace transform is function must be piecewise continuous on this interval for every t greater than 0. Okay, and function must be of exponential order alpha for t greater than t. The function is piecewise continuous and of exponential order, then the function is always, the Laplace transform of function always exists. Okay. Before going to the example, one thing I have forgotten to mention in piecewise continuous functions. Okay, we have seen the graph of piecewise continuous function, and you have seen that function is continuous in some short intervals. Okay, and the main one more property in the piecewise continuous function, at the end of that interval, that is after when the graph of function becomes discontinuous. Piecewise continuous means function is continuous in some short intervals, open intervals. Okay, open intervals means the end point does not include in that interval. So the value of the function at end point we don't have to care, but within the short interval function never take infinite value. Okay, or at the end point also function never take infinite value. That is one more property of the piecewise continuous functions. Okay. Now to clear the idea of function of exponential order, we will take one example that show that the function t raised to power n is of exponential order. Okay. So to show function is of exponential order, we know we have to show that limit t tends to infinity of e raised to power minus alpha t into the function is t raised to power n must be equal to some finite number. Okay. Now this is equal to limit t tends to infinity e raised to power n as it is. E raised to power minus alpha t means 1 upon e raised to power alpha t. Okay. Now as t tends to infinity, e raised to power n also tends to infinity. E raised to power alpha t also tends to infinity. So this is infinity by infinity form, and we know the L'Hopital rule, or we can say L'Hopital rule, when there is infinity by infinity form. Limit of this form is equal to limit of derivatives. Take the derivative of numerator and denominator. So this is equal to limit t tends to infinity. Limit of derivative of t raised to power n is n into t raised to power n minus 1 upon derivative of e raised to power alpha t, that is with respect to t. So derivative is alpha into e raised to power alpha t. Again as t tends to infinity, e raised to power n minus 1 also tends to infinity. E raised to power alpha t also tends to infinity as t tends to infinity. Again infinity by infinity form. So again you have to use L'Hopital rule. So again this is equal to limit t tends to infinity. Now n as it is derivative of t raised to power n minus 1. So derivative of t raised to power n minus 1 is n minus 1 into t raised to power n minus 2 upon alpha as it is derivative of e raised to power alpha t. Derivative of e raised to power alpha t is again alpha into e raised to power alpha t. So alpha into alpha is alpha square e raised to power alpha t. Again as t tends to infinity, e raised to power n minus 1 tends to infinity. As t tends to infinity, e raised to power alpha t also tending to infinity. So again infinity by infinity form. So this form will be continue whenever this t raised to power something, the power will become 0. At first step, the power of t will be is e raised to power n. When we take first derivative and then take the limit, the power is n minus 1, n minus 2. So we have to take the derivative n times, and then we have to use. So we have to apply the L'Hopital rule or L'Hopital rule n times. Then the power of t will become 0. So by continuing the process, okay. So by continuing the process, at n step, what we will get? We will get limit t tends to infinity. n minus 1, n minus 2 up to 1. n minus 1, n minus 2 up to 2 into 1 upon. In the first step there is only e raised to alpha t. Then when we take first derivative, here alpha into e raised to alpha t. When we take a second derivative, here alpha square. So continuing the process, when we take nth derivative, here will be alpha raised to power n into t raised to power n minus 1, n minus 2 up to so on. At last, at n step, power becomes 0. That is t raised to power 0 upon e raised to power alpha t, e raised to alpha t, e raised to alpha t as it is. E raised to power alpha t as it is. Now t raised to power 0 means 1. So this we can write as just 1. Okay. So this is equal to, or remain, we will write one more step. So keep it as t raised to power 0. So this is equal to limit t tends to infinity. This is n minus 1, n minus 2 up to 2 into 1. So n factorial upon alpha raised to power n. T raised to power 0 is 1. So 1 upon e raised to power alpha. Now this is constant. So as this is equal to n factorial upon alpha raised to power n into limit t tends to infinity of 1 upon e raised to power alpha t. But as t tends to infinity, e raised to power alpha t tends to infinity. 1 upon infinity tends to 0. 0 into some finite number is equal to 0. So limit of t tends to infinity, e raised to power minus alpha t into t function is equal to some finite number. This implies this function f of t, that is t raised to power n, is of exponential order. Because limit is equal to some finite number. Limit of e raised to power minus alpha t into function is equal to 0. That is finite number. So this function t raised to power n is of exponential order. Okay. Thank you.